It's time for some ADP Battles. And happy birthday, Adley. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 68 of Bringing the Heat. My name's Cody Pyatt. With me, as always, the four-seam fastball co-host, Will, the Lodgins, Sism. Guys, this is Will's flu game right now, okay? And I apologize if that audio was real loud. It was bumping in my ears, man. Let the people know how we're feeling today, Will.
I mean, I've been better, but hey, the voice, Cody's going to have to carry me this episode a little bit, but hey, we're going to power through it. But this ADP battle stuff is going to be good stuff. So we're about to make you a winner in fantasy season 2024 right here.
That's it, guys. Just what he said. I'll try and keep it brief on the front end. There's a couple of things I feel like we have to talk about. There was stuff I wanted to expand on, but we're just going to throw it in the hit and run, and then we'll get to the ADP battles. Once we get there, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to go through every position. I looked through just kind of the average ADPs across all the different platforms, and we essentially what we did, if you're following along, is we took guys who were so similar that you're going to be facing that decision at that position. And then we talk about what we like, what we don't like, and what we would do. So hang in. This is probably one of my favorite. We did this last year, and I had a great time. So, dude, it's gearing up, man, for draft season.
Mm-hmm.
I've already done a couple. I feel, it's early. It's early. A lot of time for things to change. But, yeah, man, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's dive in with what's on the grill with Will, guys. So 4 things we got to talk about. And, man, this first one is a doozy. It's the reason why I'm wearing this fancy new, slightly disformed hat. Go over to YouTube. I ordered the hat. It is not the same shape as the ones I typically get, but it is an Orioles hat because Corbin Burnes is going to the Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles have acquired former Cy Young winner Corbin Burnes in a trade with Milwaukee, giving up their infield prospect Joey Ortiz and left-hander D.L. Hall. Milwaukee will also get the 34th pick in the 2024 draft. Dude, we have been screaming this from the rooftops since we started this show. Baltimore needs a one to go with that young core, and they got it. What about this deal? Woohoo!
Way to go, Baltimore, for doing what needed to be done. We have no idea if he's going to re-sign past this year. But, man, you said it. Baltimore needed a true number one, and, man, they went out and got it. So I'm proud of the Orioles. Obviously, this doesn't guarantee anything, but this is exactly what they needed. This should be a shot in the arm for everybody on that ball club, the fan base, front office. This city, this team, this organization has to be on cloud 9 right now.
Yeah.
Corbin Burnes has to be excited. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. I just think this is exactly what the doctor ordered. He's going to get to pitch to Adley Rutschman.
It's pretty cool.
So I just think this is a match made in heaven. I think Burnes is going to have a big year, and obviously we'll see how it plays out for Baltimore, but what a great move.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's exciting. You look at this rotation. You got Burnes, Bradish, Grayson Rodriguez gets to pick the brain of the former Cy. John Means coming back, but you remember before he got injured, he was nasty in 21. And then Dean Kramer. These are guys who did the thing, who led a team to 101 wins last year. And then you pick up this ace. Very excited. Real quick on the Burnes front, I mean, I'm kind of trying to weigh it. On one hand, you go to this very pitcher-friendly ballpark in Baltimore where they moved left field back and up, and it's just absolutely tough to go yard there. But you're also now facing against the AL East a bit more. So I wonder how it pans out. I think for fantasy, it does cement him as like the third SP. If he wasn't already behind Strider and Cole. but it's pretty exciting. Real quick, the players that the Brewers got back: DL Hall, he's a former top 100 prospect. Very nasty stuff. His velo has dropped from 96 and 22 to 93, but he did find success in the bullpen. He's going to have an opportunity to make this rotation, which is now, remember Woodruff is also gone, so it's pretty much Freddie Peralta, Wade Miley, and then we'll see. So lots of options. Joey Ortiz, this is a great move for him. He's 25 and he's beyond blocked. I mean, you never heard of this guy. Not you, Will, the people listening. You
Yep.
never heard of this guy because you got guys like Jackson Holiday and Gunnar Henderson plugging up the middle for Baltimore. So guess what? Now this guy's going to get a shot to make the team in Milwaukee. So we kind of talked about it from time to time as far as, okay, they go out and get Rhys Hoskins. Now we're trading away Corbin Burns. It makes sense. He wasn't going to come back. He's priced himself out of Milwaukee. Arbitration didn't go well last year. I work with a couple Brewers fans, mixed emotions on their end, but what were they supposed to do? Our next topic on the grill here, Will, our pillar. He got paid, buddy. Kansas City and Bobby Witt Jr. agreed to an 11-year, $288.8 million contract. That's an average annual value of $26.25 million. It has player options after the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th year. And then the 11th year, there's a club option for 3 more years at $89 million, which would bring the whole contract to $377 million over 14 years. We're literally talking about 2038. I mean, what? Doing quick math here. I'm going to be like 40. Okay. I mean, what's happening, Will? This is exciting, though, right?
Absolutely. This is another organization with Kansas City that they did the right thing. They locked up the franchise, and now the clock is ticking, man. You got to get help around him. So this is an awesome first step. But now the challenge for Kansas City is, how do we build this thing around this guy?
Yeah.
And so, don't make this a Mike Trout 2.0. So we're going to keep the Royals accountable on this show. And I'm happy for Bobby Witt, but let's just not make this a waste, Kansas City.
Yeah. Yep. You're right, man. They've made moves, right? You've seen them go out and trade or sign Walker and Seth Lugo, just going after the San Diego pitchers.
Yeah.
But this is still a team and a rebuild kind of in its infancy. This guy had a well of a second half, and so I'm pretty excited to see what happens, dude, because this guy, he's spectacular. Almost went 30-50 last year, and you don't see that often. Moving on. Point number 3 here, Will. Jose Altuve is an Astro for life. The star second baseman agreed to a 5-year contract extension with the Astros on Tuesday. It's his 3rd extension with the team, which is interesting. He's a Scott Boras guy, and he usually always sends him to free agency, but Altuve's never made it there. He's wanted to stay in Houston. The deal will start in 2025 and take him through his age 39 season. There is a $15 million sign-on bonus. The first 3 years of the extension are $30 million a year, and then the last 2, very affordable, $10 million. That's going to be like chump change in 2020. I guess it'd be 2030.
Yeah.
Kind of exciting. This is one of many high-caliber players Houston needs to lock up. You got Tucker and Framber, who are going to be free agents come 2026. And then Alex Bregman, he's the big question mark here. He's a free agent after this upcoming season, so 2025. What do you think this means for him?
It's a good question. It just feels right, though, that Jose Altuve finishes out in Houston. So happy to see that for both parties. For Bregman, I don't know, man. It feels like somebody is going to get left out.
Yeah.
And it might be Bregman, because I can see him, for whatever reason, wanting to kind of get paid one more time. And to be honest with you, I don't know if Houston is going to pay everybody.
Yeah.
So I would say chances are 50-50 at best as of right now. But don't be surprised if Bregman hits free agency after this year.
Yeah, they've done it before. They said see you later to Carlos Correa,
Yeah.
Garrett Cole, Zach Greinke. I feel like there's one I'm missing. They handed out cash to Jordan, and then obviously they got Josh Hader. Very interesting move. They don't have a ton in the pipeline that I can see coming up, but I don't know, man. Third base, it's an interesting position.
Yeah.
Bregman's obviously been kind of the picture of consistency there. But real quick on Altuve, man, this is great for him. He's been in the league 13 years. I don't know if you know this story. You probably heard it. Everybody's probably heard it. It's been circulating a lot the last couple days. This is a guy who he was 16. He went to just kind of like a little tryout for Houston. They sent him home the first day, and then he came back anyway the second day, and they offered him a $15,000 sign-on bonus, and he took it and ran. And there was this big quote he said in his press conference that he was told that he was just kind of a stopgap until they find a real second baseman. And I do. It's pretty. I mean, it's kind of inspiring. The dude is my favorite player growing up was Dustin Pedroia.
Mm-hmm.
And he had, he came into the league in 2007, won Rookie of the Year, then won an MVP in 2008. And I always looked at Altuve as like sort of like Dustin Pedroia, but Dustin Pedroia wasn't able to stay healthy, hasn't had the career that Altuve had, and Altuve is going to get 3,000 hits with the Astros, and it's pretty spectacular, man. Pretty cool for him. Last note, and then we're going to get into hit and run, real quick stuff. Kershaw back with the Dodgers. It's kind of news. It's kind of not, because we all thought it was going to happen, but he's coming back for at least another year. No money's come out yet, but there is talks that there's an option for the 2025 year. So maybe it won't just be a 1 year and wait for Kershaw. He's not going to be back until at least the All-Star break. He's coming off of shoulder surgery. But just real quick, guys, this dude has been electric when he's on the field. He hasn't been able to give you 180 innings, but just last year, how about a 13-5 record, a 2.46 ERA, 1.06 WHIP, and 137 Ks in 131 innings pitched? It's just, can he stay healthy, Will?
That's exactly it. But happy to see this. This is kind of the theme. Feels right, like a lot of really good moves that we've talked about. I mean, Clayton Kershaw cannot pitch for anybody else other than LA.
Yeah, he's got it. They're gonna put a statue up, man. And there's been a lot of incredible people play for that franchise, but he came up when he was 20, absolutely electric, and he's a freaking man, dude. We're not big LA fans here. I love Mookie, I always will, but otherwise, it's a little bit like the KC thing we're fixing to see in a couple of days. It's like all they do is win.
Yep.
But you can't help but root for this guy. He, in my opinion, first ballot, 100% unanimous.
Oh, yes.
Somebody's going to be like, some guy from San Francisco is going to not vote for him. It's going to be 99.5%. But he's unbelievable. One of the best pitchers that I've ever got to watch.
The best pitcher of this generation.
I think you could say it. I mean, you could say DeGrom, people like that, but he just hadn't done it long enough. And in his prime, I mean, he won Triple Crown we're talking about here now. This dude is he's a stud, and he's still doing it. It's pretty spectacular. Real quick, hit and run. Like I said, I want to expand on some of this stuff, but we're not going to, because we got some fun stuff to dive into, Will. Mets add a couple of relievers here, Jake Diekman and Shitaro Fujinami. Remember, he came over, I think, with Oakland, got traded to Baltimore, and now he's a free agent. So they add a couple arms there. Twins add Carlos Santana on a 1-year deal. Thought this was kind of weird, because I thought we were just making moves. We got Polanco out of town to kind of free up the infield. Then we just add a first baseman. So I'm confused. They saw what the Reds are doing, and they're all about it, Will. Oakland, Vegas A's, they've added some pitchers. I guess these guys are both former Giants here. Alex Wood and Ross Stripling to the staff. And then this is one I'm kind of excited about, because I think he's going to win reliever of the year. Phil Machon from the Astros, 2-year raise. 30-year-old will sign a $6.25 million deal. There's an option for 2025 for $7.75. Dude had a 3.00 ERA in 68 appearances. Really solid arm, and you send someone to Tampa Bay, They're gonna find success. Anything get you excited?
Everything you said, I firmly believe Phil Maton will be really good in Tampa. Um, and we'll see if the A's can win more than 40 games.
Here we go. 2024, man. We're gonna have to leave them out of where do we stand, and we're just gonna have the A's. Listen, I don't even bet on sports, but I think we should just bet the under.
Yes.
And yeah, that's easy money. This is as close to insider trading as I feel comfortable doing.
Correct.
It's like Oakland is not gonna win. It's gonna have to be like 40 and a half games over under. Which we ought to do later. I think I talked about that last episode. But let's not delay anymore, guys. It is time for the ADP battles. Man, I'm super excited about this. Let's start with catchers. We're going to go all around the infield, outfield, talk pitching. We might be here all night, okay? You guys are going to have to get on YouTube for this one because by the end of this episode, Will might be signing to you, okay? So let's just dive in with a little casual Will Smith at the catcher position. His average draft position right now is 68.0 versus JT Realmuto. His average draft position, 69.2. So this is in fifth, sixth round. You're going to be taking a look at these guys. You want to dip into the catcher market. Who you taking?
Man, this is a tough call. I think for me, it depends on, and I hate to put this because I would love to say yay or nay, but I really believe it depends on kind of what you want. And what I mean by that is if you want a guy at the position that's a total outlier, you get JT because he steals bases. If you want a guy who I think might have the better production, I think you go Will Smith because I think, especially with Ohtani in that lineup now, I think Will Smith is going to have potentially a career year. Yeah. And so I guess if you pin me down, I would probably lean towards Will Smith just because of where he is in that LA lineup. But again, if you value an outlier and want some steals at a position where you can't get it anywhere else, JT's obviously a great pick.
Yeah, I love what you said. We got to pick a number, 100, 1,000 subscribers. I will try and pin Will down, okay? We'll just put the camera on and we'll see what happens, okay?
Yep.
Back to the question at hand, though. You're exactly right. People are saying JT, he might be slowing down. He had a little bit of a down year last year. I'm not out on this guy. I've drafted him on one of my teams. You're right. He's the only catcher out there who's going to give you any kind of legs, any kind of wheels. I am curious with the landscape of stolen bases changing. It doesn't mean as much as it did, but it still doesn't mean nothing. You weigh that against exactly what you said, the fact that it's literally going to be Mookie, Freddie Freeman, Shohei, Will Smith. He's going to be batting with people on base like 75% of the time. So there's an opportunity to see those RBIs. He had 76 RBIs last year. Will Smith did. He could be pumping 85, 90, and it's pretty spectacular. Above average K rate and walk rate for Will Smith. He's just a little bit more of a pure hitter to me. He's also younger, 28 versus 32. Realmuto is actually going into his age 33 season, so pretty exciting there. Our second matchup, I'd go Will Smith too. I have Realmuto on a team, but I'd go Will Smith. Let's see here. Our second catcher battle here. I actually have three guys. This is the only one on this sheet where I have three guys, but we have Cal Raleigh, ADP of 134, versus Sal Perez, ADP of 138, versus Sean Murphy. Kind of shocked me. He's going behind both these guys, ADP of 141. This is in like the 11th round-ish. It's clearly a tier below the two gentlemen we just spoke about, but who's piquing your interest here?
These are all pretty similar players with some power at the position. Excuse me. But I'm going to go Sean Murphy.
Yeah.
I realize there's major concerns over him not getting enough at bats, playing in that Braves lineup. But I tell you what, man, I did not realize how good he was
Oh yeah.
until I saw him in the first half last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think honestly, him playing in just over half the games in a way maybe helps him because he's not going to get worn down.
Mm-hmm.
And as frustrating as it is in fantasy to have a guy who's not playing, he almost makes up for it though, man,
Yeah.
especially at the catcher position. And so I'm going to lean Sean Murphy despite the playing time concerns. I just think, honestly, he's got potential. If he plays close to 100 games, I think he's easily a top 3 or 4 catcher in the sport.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. That's the thing. He's splitting time with Darno. I don't know why I thought this. But that last year was only his first year in Atlanta. I guess
Yep.
I had him there for a couple years. I'm not 100% sure why, but yeah. So we're going into our second year hot Atlanta, and more home runs and less plate appearances than he ever has in his career. This is a guy who he just mashes the ball. All of his underlying numbers look great. There's nothing not to like. It's just, is he going to get out there and play? Um, I would probably go, and in most of my mocks have tried to grab Cal Raleigh just
Yeah.
because I think there's an opportunity for the average to tick up a little bit, and we know he can bang the baseball. He had 30 home runs last year, 75 RBIs. He's not going to steal you a singular base, Will, but I do feel like
Correct.
his home run floor is like 20, 25.
Oh,
I mean,
at least.
the dude is a stud. I think the Mariners lineup has got sneaky a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gets me excited. And for whatever I've seen, or for whatever reason, in all the drafts I've done, he actually falls less than what these number or more than what these numbers suggest. I've never seen it go in this order. I've always seen it go Murphy or Perez and then Cal.
Yeah.
So I think people are sleeping on the West Coast of it all. And I take Cal Raleigh, but Sean Murphy's blue chip if he plays 140 games like he did in Oakland, because his numbers, man, he had 611 plate appearances in Oakland, but you're hitting in like a mammoth stadium
Yep.
versus in Atlanta. If he can get up to 500, 550, I think he's going to hurt 30 bombs too. And he's also great defensively. The thing is, Atlanta's in the playoffs every year, so they're kind of like, let's just save him for that.
Yep.
I don't know, dude. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe a sneaky trade piece if he starts out kind of slower. They're not playing him. You want to take on that risk. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just out here having fun. Will,
Potentially.
speaking of fun, the cold corner. Nobody calls it that, but it's first base. It's the opposite of the hot corner. But this is going to be a hot debate because we have identical ADPs at 27. So you're in the back half of the second round, essentially, maybe starting a third, depending on the size of your league. And we're looking at the first baseman, Polar Bear Pete Alonso versus Vlad Guerrero Jr. What are you doing? You're like, I'm drafting a third baseman. I'm getting out of
Right,
here.
right. You've pegged me there. Yeah, Cody kind of revealed my secret there. I'm not gonna lie, I don't love either one of these guys, this high. Um, but I tell you what, I mean, I gotta believe that both of these guys are gonna be better than what they were a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Alonso's gonna hit more home runs if he's healthy.
Yeah.
Vlad's gonna have a little bit higher average, obviously, if he's healthy. Um, man, this is tough. I mean, I guess I would give a very slight edge to Vlad.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe a little bit more well-rounded.
yeah, a little bit more well-rounded. I trust the lineup around him a little bit more.
That's true.
Um,
That's true.
Mainly for those reasons, I would probably go Vlad.
Yeah.
But like we said in the first base breakdown, this position is a lot deeper than it has been over the past year or two. So I'm fading both of these guys, but if I had to choose one or the other, I would probably lean slightly in favor of Vlad Jr. But I've said this before. Vlad Jr., this is your year to prove any doubters like myself wrong.
Yeah.
Like, don't have another mediocre year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm taking Vlad Jr., but I'm skeptical.
Yeah. Dude, it's tough. Vlad, he's on the cover of a video game.
Yeah.
It's very, very exciting stuff. He's turned into a bit of a wild card for me, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, he came out, he was on fire in 21. Almost won the MVP. I mean, the dude was electric. Yeah, he was running up to Shohei. That was the first time Shohei won. Dude, I'm looking at it. I don't know. The thing about Pete, it feels like he's locked for 40 bombs, you know?
Yes, he is.
But the average, dude, we this is well documented. I mean, I picked him to be the NL MVP last year.
Me too.
Thinking he'd tick it up a notch average wise, and he ticked it down 10 notches to 217. Still had 46 bombs and 118 ribbies. I guess it depends on what kind of league you're in. When I look at the underlying stuff for Vlad, nothing stands out to you as terrible except for the dude pounds the ball into the ground. He still hits the ball. I mean, we talked about this last year. Like, if he could elevate, he probably hit 40 bombs, you know, and the average would be there too. So,
yep.
I'm going Pete. I got Pete on the team already. I'm going Pete. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Let me say this. I think I said this earlier, but would anybody really be just shocked if Pete Alonso basically was this year's Matt Olson?
No, sir. No.
I don't think anybody would be shocked, right?
No. You get the average back up, and it feels like, you know, how many home runs was he off? 8, you know?
On a 217 average or whatever it was?
Yeah. Yeah, he muncied the fire out of 23, dude.
Right?
It's crazy. Yeah. I hate to fade, you know, Vlad's one of my keepers, but in our home league. But I'm more interested in the next two we're fixing to talk about than either one of these guys at this spot. We're moving down to rounds 8 and 9 here, folks. Spencer Steer, Mr. Do It All for the Reds, versus Tristan Casas. Will corrected me the first time. Now I'm never sure. It's a coin flip in my head. It's a coin flop in my head, Will. Okay, we got some ADPs for you. 96.2 for Steer. 99.6 for Tristan. I'm going first name only because he's my Red Sox first baseman. What are you doing here, bud?
I'll tell you what. I really like both of these guys. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a slight edge to Spencer Steer for 2 reasons. He still steals bases.
Yeah.
He hits in Great American Ballpark.
Yep.
And he's multi-position eligible.
Big time.
And that's not everything, but it means something when you're really splitting hairs.
Mm-hmm.
And so for those reasons, I'm going to give a slight edge to Steer. But I tell you what, don't be shocked if he ends up being a top 5 player at the position.
Yeah. Dude, he's primed for a big year, and we're going to need it. He had a well of a second half. His numbers ended in a pretty solid place, but he got out of the gates tough. 263, 24 home runs, 65 RBIs, 66 runs. But for everything you said, literally, I have everything written down what you said, dude. Spencer Steer, he's the man. You know, they're going to put him in left field. He'll get outfield eligibility. He already has it, I believe, and he could have a 2020 year. You know, 2030 year. He could hit 30 bombs for sure. And you're right, Great American Small Park.
Yeah,
dude. There's just I hate to pick against my man Casas here, but he could hit 40 bombs. Yeah. He really could. He could be like Baby Ortiz. You know, he kind of looks. He's that commanding when he's in the batter's box. To me, he's that big of a figure. But yeah, we'll see what happens, dude. I don't know. Real quick sidebar. We definitely don't have time for this, but do you see the thing? Netflix is going to be covering the Red Sox.
Yes.
I think I'm calling my shot. He's going to be a star. He is. He's come out. He's young. He's got a big presence on social media, and he seems to just kind of be a fun-loving kid. I think people are going to love that guy. Also, side note, I wish why are we doing it now? Couldn't have done it couldn't have done it 5 years ago. What are we doing
Right.
now? Inside the clubhouse of a 60-win baseball team as they cement the top 5 draft pick. Dude, I don't know. The fans riot. There's no one in the stands. What are we talking about? It's gonna be nuts, man. Moving on. Moving on. We both went steer. I agree with you. Here we go. Second base. This is your man. This is like kind of two of your man crushes here a little bit, I think.
It is.
Yeah, Marcus Semien, ADP of 23.8 versus Ozzy Albies, ADP of 25. Again, we're in the second round, second to third round here. What are you doing? I know.
I I love both of these guys. I'm gonna give a very, very slight edge to Marcus Semien,
Mm-hmm.
just because I trust him to be on the field more.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is my only reason. I think if somebody told me right now that Ozzy Albies will play 150 games,
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably reverse that just very slightly, just because Ozzy Albies has, I think he's still very much in his prime and might steal a few more bases.
Yeah.
But I just can't, because he's had some injury history, and Marcus Semien is the exact opposite. He
Yeah.
literally is there every single game. He produces. He hits at the top of an amazing lineup, and I don't know, man. I think Marcus Semien is one of the safest
Mhm.
draft picks in any of the first couple of rounds in fantasy baseball.
I know. Highest floor, without a
Yep.
doubt. Dude, I love what you're saying. He's the modern day Iron Man. He's on pace. He's going to score 1,000,000 runs leading
Yeah.
off for the Texas Rangers. 122 runs. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty dang sure that led the league. I
Yes,
feel like
it
I
did.
read that. Yeah, okay. Stud. That being said, I'm going to go Ozzy, dude, because the ceiling's a bit higher for me. He still plays in an electric lineup. When he came into the league, it feels like forever ago now. He was kind of like where Michael Harris is now. They'd
Yes.
kind of pin him in the bottom 3, and you're like, just get this guy up in the lineup, do it. And now they're doing it, and he's showing why they were right to do so. Injuries popped in my head as well, but I did a little research, and excluding the 2020 COVID shortened year, he's played at least 156 games in 4 of the last 5 seasons. The one year he missed was 22. So I feel you, dude. I feel like he's had injuries, but he's been out there. Not like Semien, and I agree with everything you said. But just because I think right now, team stacking,
Yeah.
Braves players and Dodgers players probably isn't a bad call.
Or Texas Rangers.
Or Texas Rangers, dude, they just won the World Series. Dude, that would have been a heck of a World Series. Atlanta, Texas.
Right?
I mean, we love the baby snakes and all, but that would have been pretty dope as well.
I agree.
Man, I'm excited for baseball. It's coming, guys.
It's almost here.
Woo! I know, buddy. I'm getting giddy. I'm in tell you. Okay, moving on, dude. I'm really excited. Gleyber Torres, ADP of 94.8 versus Ketel Marte. Speaking of the Snakes, 97. You're in round 8. You're like, dude, I need to start filling out this middle infield. Who's piquing your interest here?
Any of our loyal listeners out there that listen to our second base breakdown will probably remember my answer to this, but I've just got one of those feelings.
Yeah.
I think Gleyber Torres is going to have a monster year.
Yeah.
I really do. Every time he's going to be hitting behind Juan Soto, Aaron Judge. He's literally going to have guys on base almost every single at bat this year.
Yeah.
And I just think he is primed for a big year, kind of out of nowhere, honestly.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, he hasn't been sneaky bad. Like,
I
I
know.
think he gets a lot of bad press because he plays for the Yankees.
Yep.
But I know he had that amazing like first or second year there, and he's
19 with
kind of
juice balls.
and he's kind of plateaued a little bit. But
Yeah.
even the last few years, he hasn't been awful,
Yeah.
especially at second base. So, um, I think Marte's a really good player. I think he's
Yeah.
gonna have a solid year in Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
but I just have a feeling that this could be kind of a special year for Gleyber Torres. So I'm gonna go Gleyber.
Yeah. Dude, I like everything you said. Their stats are eerily similar, man.
Yeah,
You have Torres has an average 273, Marte 276. They both had 25 home runs. RBIs, let's see, Marte got them 82 to 68. They both stole almost 10 bases. Well, it looks like Glaber stole 13. Uh, I feel like the higher floor play is Marte,
yes,
the higher ceiling, and it's not for a reason why I feel like the listeners would think. I am unsure where Aaron Boone's going to pencil Glaber into this lineup because you still got guys like Stanton, and it shouldn't matter. But I don't think he's going to want to bat. Roster Resource has Stanton batting in the seventh hole and Glaber batting in the fifth hole. I
yeah,
picture it switched just because of who Stanton is, and I understand he might bat 220, but he can still hit a ball 450. And this is a guy, former MVP in the National League. I worry that he's going to take some RBI opportunities away. It depends on what my team looks like. I just drafted Torres today because I was like, I can go high floor and I don't have to, Marte, or I can, I don't need to go high floor. I can go a little high ceiling here, and we'll just see what happens. But I think for this exercise, I'd probably take Marte just because he's going to bat at the top of that D-backs lineup, probably behind Corbin Carroll. But I don't know, dude. They're both solid. They're both very solid.
yeah.
Um, okay, moving on. Hot corner. Hot corner. Third base. We got another identical ADP here, guys. And these guys have been like fused at the hip since I've been playing fantasy baseball, these two. You probably know what I'm fixing to say. Will definitely does. It's in front of him on the computer. Austin Riley, ADP 21.8 versus Rafi Devers, ADP 21.8. You're in the middle of the second round. Who you taking?
Tell you what, this is this is one that's about as tough as any of the ones on here. Um, I love both of these guys at that spot. Like I would honestly wouldn't hesitate to take either one of these guys at that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm gonna give a very, and I mean very, slight edge to Austin Riley just because he plays for the Braves.
Yep.
That's honestly the only reason why I'm gonna say Austin Riley. I think I will say this though. If it wasn't for Shohei Ohtani
Mm-hmm.
and Ronald Acuna, Austin Riley might. I have a feeling Austin Riley might get some MVP votes this year.
Yeah.
So having said that, man, Devers, love him or hate him,
Yeah.
all he does every year is put up big time elite numbers.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he always gets to hit in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
That certainly helps. So I mean, don't be surprised if Rafi Devers has an unbelievable year again. So
Yeah.
this one's almost too close to call, but just because of the Braves, I'm going to give just a very, very slight edge to Austin Riley.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I don't want to agree with you, obviously,
Yeah,
but you can't look at that lineup, lineup comparison. And Boston's lineup is not the problem
right.
for the Red Sox, but we're still talking very different levels. Um, I think maybe better pure hitter, just looking at underlying stuff, goes to
Yes.
Devers, but that's not what we're
Yes.
talking about here. If you're in a roto league, you're trying to get runs, RBIs, homers, and Riley outdid Devers in two of those three. So we'll see. They're very similar players. Riley's got a little bit more average. He also strikes out a little bit more. Um, Oh gosh, dude, it is. Listen, if you end up with both of them or either one of them, you're in a great spot
Yes.
at third base. And I think we're about a year away. I don't know. I don't want to do this to Jose Ramirez, but at some point, I feel like the two of them
Yep.
and then him being in his own tier, it's gonna just kind of meld, like melt and weld. They're gonna meld together, and it's gonna be the three of them, man, because they are all three very excellent baseball players. Um, this one's interesting, and I can't wait to get your thoughts on it here. We got Royce Lewis. We moved down a couple. Maybe you took a second baseman in the second round. Now you're in the fifth to sixth round. You got Royce Lewis at a 68.6 ADP versus Alex Bregman, ADP is 71. What are we doing?
Golly.
And this fun. I'm having the best time.
It is.
I'm having a good time.
Here's the thing. This really honestly boils down to one question. Are you willing to roll the dice?
Mm.
If
Yeah.
you're willing to roll the dice, the answer is Royce Lewis, I think, very clearly, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But man, there is an insane amount of risk if you do that. And so I'm just going to say for this exercise,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Royce Lewis just because I think his ceiling is about as high as anybody at the position,
Yeah.
including those two we just talked about. But the floor is beyond low. So again, I'm going to say Royce Lewis, but I'll put it this way. If I drafted Royce Lewis, number one, I'm going to have a really good backup at the position.
Yeah.
And number two, I am not taking that many more risks on the rest of my roster because, I mean, Royce Lewis, love him or hate him,
Yeah. Yeah.
he has yet to prove that he's basically Byron Buxton.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, Twins are queuing this guy up to be the next big thing.
Yes.
In there. They had Twins Fest last week, maybe earlier this week. What day is it? And they had Royce Lewis come out last because he is the next big deal. Only 24. Next year when we're talking about this, it might not even be a question. But for right now, I'm just telling you guys what I would do. I don't think I'd take him over Bregman just because of the consistency that Bregman brings to the table. And, we don't have to walk. We do it, but we don't want to have to walk around with Tums,
No.
on a Saturday night into a Sunday final for our fantasy week. I don't want to be in church trying to focus, but I'm stressing,
Right?
So I'm going Bregman. He's still, for right now, plays for Houston. He still, for right now, hits right-handed into the Crawford boxes, and he's still got that swagger. I like it a lot. Speaking of swagger, dude, this just keeps getting better. We're going to shortstop. Gunnar Henderson, ADP of 35.6 versus Bo Bichette at ADP of 40. He was a top 12 player last year. It has shocked me to see how far he's fallen. But we're talking rounds 3, rounds 4. You're looking for a shortstop. Who do you like?
And I love both of these guys. I think Bo Bichette's going way too low. Honestly, I think Gunner's going a little too low too. I think for me, this is another one where honestly it depends because if I want power, I'm definitely giving the edge to Gunner. But if I want a guy who could potentially lead the league in hits, I'm going Bo. Like if I value average, who's also going to give me some pop, give me a little bit of steals, Bo Bichette's going to help you everywhere and not hurt you anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think I've said this before. I think Bo Bichette's the best player on Toronto's roster.
Yeah.
And so I think he's going way too low. I think
Alec Manoah wants to have a word with you in his office.
Lord. But you know what? This one ultimately depends on again what I value. So for fantasy purposes, I'm gonna give a very slight edge to Bo just because he doesn't hurt you anywhere. But the upside with Gunnar Henderson, man, I mean, Gunnar Henderson, man, he's got top 10 to 15 overall written all over him.
Big
And
time.
it could be as early as next year.
Yep. Yeah, dude. I wanted to pull it up real quick because I'm trying to see where he might bat in this leadoff. He might bat leadoff. Yeah, I was gonna say I thought that's where he ended up, but I just wanted to confirm.
Oh, yeah, for Baltimore?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
He's gonna run a bit more than I think Bo will. Bo is. I was kind of looking at his numbers. Like he only had 5 steals last year.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't he running more? And then
I
I
think he
remember
was hurt.
he had some injuries. That's exactly right, Will. So, probably trying to prevent that, but you got to think once he gets the feet back under him, he's going to get you more than 5 bags. That being said, I do think Gunner is going to get you more numbers. And, strikeout is the big thing with him. He
Yep.
strikes out at a 25% clip. That's not going to play. But guess what? He's a rookie. Won Rookie of the Year last year. He's not a rookie anymore, but he's going into his second year. The more big league pitching you see, it's my same argument for Bobby Witt right now. Not that anybody's like, I'm not taking Bobby Witt because he's going at 2 or 3. But that's where you rest your head. If you're a Kansas City fan and you're just giving this guy $288 million, it's like, okay, the more pitching he sees, the better that strikeout thing's going to be. Same thing here with Gunner. Love his name. He's got to be fast. So can't name somebody Gunner and him not be fast. I think we're looking at a guy at 30-15, maybe more. And I'm excited, dude, to see this team absolutely run through my Red Sox. I hate it, but it is what it is. Here we go. Our next bit of shortstop conversation. CJ Abrams at an ADP of 57.6 versus Nico Horner. Has shortstop eligibility, 59.0. So you're in rounds 4 to 5. I tell you what's surprising to me, Abrams going this high. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm I'm with you. This is the ultimate high floor player in Nico Horner versus high ceiling player in Abrams.
Yeah.
I like to have a lot of high floor players on my team.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to swing for the fences too. If I'm purely comparing these two players, I'm going to give a slight edge to Abrams just because I love the power speed combination. I think he's like I think he's a poor man Bobby Witt.
Yeah.
And and I mean that as a big compliment, honestly. So, I'm going to give a slight edge to Abrams. Again, Horner is as solid as they come. He's basically a poor man's Bo Bichette.
Yeah,
with more steals.
Yeah, we know what we're gonna get with Horner. I feel like.
So, I could go either way on this. I do really like what I saw at Abrams. I think he has potential to get a lot better as well.
Correct.
So I'm gonna just give a slight edge to Abrams, just purely for the upside.
Yep. I was actually gonna go Horner, but then I started looking at his underlying numbers, and they're terrible. They're terrible. But one underlying number that's kind of an overlying number is the fact that he's only 23. He's going into his 23-year-old season, and this guy had 18 bombs and stole almost 50 bases. If he can figure out the hitting a little bit, I think for what we're doing here, I take Abrams, but I'm not drafting either one of these guys this high. I think it is as surprising he's going as high as he is as Bo going as low as he is.
Are you talking about Abrams?
Abrams, correct. Yeah, I will see. I think he kind of feels like the hot name that everybody wants to get a jump on. This is a guy, he plays for Washington. They're going to have, what the heart of their lineup looks like? Keibert Ruiz and Joey Gallo. Okay, right. So this isn't a team that's going to be competing in the NL East, in my opinion. But we'll see. This guy's going to run every time he gets on base. He was 47 for 51 last year. That's pretty dang solid. I don't know. I take Abrams, but I take Bogart 75 picks later. You know what I mean? Or a different shortstop.
Yeah.
Cody's just poo-pooing the whole game that we created, though. Okay, moving to the outfield, man. This is one I'm excited about as well. I'm excited about all these. I'm just excited. Outfield time. We got Juan Soto, ADP at 7.2 versus Corbin Carroll, ADP at 7.2. And if I can just raise my hand real quick, I've never seen Carroll go at 7, but
Oh,
who do you like more?
man, this one's tough. Man, I'm with you. It feels like the 7.2 for Corbin Carroll is low, just based on everything I've been seeing and reading and observing. I think he's closer to probably 4 or 5. Having said that, man, I'm just gonna say it. I think Juan Soto might win the MVP of the American League.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest, I think if you're in a league to where on base percentage is valued, I would absolutely take Juan Soto.
Yep.
If you're in a league to where on base percentage isn't really a thing, doesn't help you whatsoever.
Rotos.
Yeah, like a roto league, then I would probably lean Carroll just because the stolen bases are going to be significant when you compare the two. But I'll put it this way. I think in every category other than stolen bases, I think Juan Soto is going to outproduce Corbin Carroll. That's just my opinion.
Yep. I think you're 100% correct. And this is one, I mean, I guess it's kind of it's a strategy, but it's all about where to draw in the draft. Yep. You know what I mean? So it might turn around if you're at 7. I've never had Juan Soto on a team. I'd love to have him on a team. It's just, it never happens that way for me. I'm either way too early or way too late.
I'm not going to lie. It's pretty fun.
It's got to be fun, dude. He's 99 percentile in walk rate. He walks like almost 20% of the time. He steps up to the, it's 18.1. I wrote it down.
You'll have a newfound appreciation for the Soto shuffle.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's awesome. He's going to hit behind or directly in front of Aaron Judge. Depends on what they end up doing there. But, that right field, it'll reach out and touch you if you're in that left-handed batter's box in Yankee Stadium. Yep. So this dude could be primed for a big year. And he's only 25. He's only 25. I'm talking myself in. I'm taking Soto at 7, but I'll take Carroll at 4.
Yeah.
I'll go Carroll. More well-rounded, just with the steals. Okay, moving on. You know what? Here's the thing about Carroll, though. As I said that, he is coming off that shoulder injury. He only had 6 bombs in the second half.
I was gonna say the second half.
Yeah, makes you nervous.
Really look close, and you look at the second half numbers for Corbin Carroll. They should. I'm not saying they should scare you, but they should offer a little bit of cause for pause. That's all I'll say. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that shoulder thing, but he's had it his whole career, and it's happened a couple of times. It happened a couple of times last year. He had surgery on it, ended the season in the minors. So the year before that one. So it's an issue. It's there. It's like Trout's back a little bit, but we'll see. Okay, outfield discussion part 2 here. Michael Harris at ADP 38 versus Luis Robert Jr. at 38.6. So almost the same pick. We're in the 3rd or 4th rounds here, Will. Who do you like?
I think Cody did this one on purpose.
I sure did.
This is like Cody's guy versus Will's guy.
That's right. That's right.
You know what? I do really like Michael Harris. I think the second half of last season for Michael Harris, at least in my head, solidified him as not necessarily a superstar, but a star in that Braves lineup. Yeah. And I think Michael Harris is going to be fine moving forward. Having said that, Luis Robert, the talent that he possesses, in my opinion, is top 5 in the whole game.
Yeah.
The problem is he plays for the White Sox.
True.
Um, so having said all that, I like both of these guys. The ADP feels just about right on, honestly, for both of them.
Yeah.
Um, if I were drafting and I was in the fourth round and both of these guys are sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, I would probably pick Luis Robert just
Okay.
because I think the talent is absolutely insane. I understand that there's more risk as far as a lower floor because when he's going bad, it goes bad.
Yeah.
Um, and he's got an injury history.
Big time.
So that's the only downside with Luis Robert, but the upside is insane. So I'm giving him a slight edge over Harris.
Yeah. Oh man, here's the thing. I'd pick Harris slam dunk. I think just because the underlying numbers look so bad for Robert. He strikes out 29% of the time, and 5% walk rate. That's not what you want either way. Numbers wound up in a great place last year: 38 bombs, 80 RBIs. The thing about it is, like you said, he's got the injury history. He ended the year in the IL, played 145 games, which I was excited to see. Thing about Harris is they just pencil him in at the 9 spot. You lose about 25 plate appearances a year every spot you move down in the order. So if they bump him up to, I just don't know where he fits, dude. I don't know where he fits in that lineup. They put him in at the 9 spot, very much like we talked about earlier with Ozzy. They used to do with him. I think he's the real deal, man. Like you said, I think last year proved it. I'd probably take Harris, just because Buxton, my first year playing fantasy, just scarred me
Yeah.
forever. And those outfielders that can't stay healthy. I mean, and I'll be happy for whoever crushes me who has Luis Robert, and hopefully it's you because usually he gives you fits. So you just
Yep.
can't beat him, draft him, as they say. They don't say that. We just made that up.
Yep.
I'd go Harris. Hey, moving on, stacking those Braves players. Moving on, we move to the starting pitcher ranks. Wrapping up here, guys. This is we got starting pitcher, we got RP. Very exciting stuff. Here's what I want to say before we dive in. There were about 15 of these that I looked at, like I could have written down. I mean, there are so many. Dude, starting pitching, it's fun because it's literally just like, what do you always say? Flavor of ice cream. Okay,
Yep.
it is. There are so many different ways to build a staff, man, and it all depends on kind of what happens in your draft and how you attack it. So I picked some fun ones. I thought about like a rapid fire, just like real quick. Tell me who you want. Here's what we got, dude. And this is what I've seen a lot, okay? You're in the second round, okay? You picked a batter. Now you're gonna go 1-1. I don't hate it. I won't do it, but I don't hate it. Zach Wheeler, ADP 27.2, or Kevin Gossman, ADP 28.8. What you doing?
Man, these are two of my guys right here. You mentioned flavor of ice cream. Both of these guys would be Superman ice cream.
Wait,
Um,
wait, wait, wait. What is Superman ice cream?
you've never seen Superman ice cream?
Never.
Oh man, you're gonna have to Google that.
All right, next
Um,
time we get together, we're getting some Superman ice cream.
right? I might be dating myself. I don't know if it exists anymore. Um, but anyways, I mean, I am not kidding you when I say this. I love both of these guys.
Oh yeah.
Um, these are in my book, these are two top 5 pitchers in the game. Um, if this was postseason fantasy baseball, it'd be slam dunk Zach Wheeler.
That's true.
But since it's not, I'm gonna actually give a slight edge to Kevin Gossman.
I like it.
If you look at the stats over the last few years, Kevin Gossman is one of the league leaders in strikeout to walk ratios. And if you want to know Will's formula for success when he looks at fantasy starting pitchers, strikeout to walk ratio. And so there's nobody better in the game hardly than Kevin Gossman. Obviously, I've said on here a lot, Blue Jays are kind of the paper champions. I don't know that they're going to win as many games as everybody thinks they're going to win, but
Yeah.
still, they're going to be at least good. So he should get plenty of wins. Zach Wheeler plays on a little bit better team with the Phillies, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if you get either one of these guys, consider yourself, you're probably
You
going to
got
have
your one.
yes. But if I had to choose one
Yeah.
purely for fantasy, slight edge to Kevin Gossman.
I like it, man. The Ks per nine is there. His ERA was a little bit better. This is going to be a wild year for Zach Wheeler. He's on the final year of that deal that he signed for the Phillies. So, walk year Wheeler could be something spectacular. The dude he's beyond solid. I've seen Wheeler go quicker. That's what I've seen. He's so good, man. He's so good. I think I like Gosman just because of the environment he plays in. Doesn't have to face the Braves. Dude, it is
Yes.
as close to a coin flip though as maybe anybody that we've seen on this list.
Yeah.
They're almost like the same person. Like I close my eyes, I can picture them each wearing each other's jerseys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they are so similar. But what I really want to talk about is how Superman ice cream is a 3-flavored ice cream that usually appears in red, blue, and yellow, and we can get it at Baskin Robbins.
Yep.
So that's a done deal, man. We're getting Superman ice cream. I'll take.
I just changed your life.
I can't think about anything else. I'm just gonna go tell Claire. I'm gonna tell Claire right now.
I would be everybody's kryptonite in fantasy baseball, but Superman ice cream, we're gonna have a party.
I gotta name a team, Superman Ice Cream. It originated in 1938. This is officially an ice cream podcast. Thank you for all your support of our fantasy baseball podcast. But we're just oh my gosh. Okay, buddy. Yeah, I think I'd go Gosman, but it's pretty dang close.
It is close.
It is close. This next one is kind of fun because they're kind of polar opposites, but exciting for each reason. Yeah, George Kirby. 1 round later, ADP of 42, or Yoshinobu Yamamoto, ADP of 42.6. Who you like?
Man, I'll say this. I'm a little surprised that George Kirby's going as high as he is. Mm-hmm. But I get it at the same time because he's almost I use this word a lot. He is an outlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, man, we'll talk about this more when we get to strategy, but outliers in fantasy baseball are what win you fantasy championships.
Yeah.
And there's nobody in the game of baseball right now that has better command of all of his pitches than George Kirby does. And he, we almost, or at least I'll just say me, I think of him as kind of a finesse pitcher because he has such good command. Mm-hmm. But you watch him and he throws 97.
Yeah.
You know, and so I say all that to say, again, it surprises me that he's going as high as he does. Mm-hmm. But I like what he brings to the table.
Yes, sir.
I would love to see his strikeouts tick up a little bit. That's the only thing that's holding me back on George Kirby right now is the lack of elite strikeouts.
Yeah.
But everything else is there. I think Seattle's a good team. Mm-hmm. Having said all that, I talked about rolling the dice earlier. Dude, I'm willing to roll the dice on Yoshinobu.
Yeah.
I think he's obviously playing on the best team money can buy in LA.
That's awesome.
I think all of his stats in Japan just scream that this guy's going to be a star at some point over here.
Oh, yeah.
The question is it going to be in year one? I think that's the biggest question for me because here's the thing. There is going to be a learning curve for him. As good as Japanese baseball is, it ain't the major leagues.
No, sir.
And so there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. But, man, everything that I've seen, the stuff is going to play and can't be on a better team. So I'm going Yoshinobu on this one.
I like everything you said. I like everything you said. Here's my thing about Yamamoto is he your one? You know what I mean? Like if you draft him, you've never seen him throw a pitch, he could get absolutely crushed. I think for where he's going in drafts, I think that's my biggest surprise. I When we did the starting pitcher rank, we looked at it by ADP, and I think when I made that list, he was like 180. He has jumped up so
Yep.
far, and it's not even spring training. I'd get it more. I feel like this is just a guy. You can't anchor your staff with him because you literally don't know what you're going to get. This is a
Right.
guy who you're coming into a place. Japan, they usually have 6 days of rest. MLB, we do 5. Okay. The ball doesn't have the pre-tack. It's also a little bigger. Seams are a little further apart. And you've never faced this level. I think it's a little bit more comparable than it used to be, but you never
Yeah.
faced these big league hitters. I'd be excited. I don't see it though. To be honest, it'd have to be a really shallow league where
Yeah.
you just have a better chance of grabbing pitchers. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But dude, and you know what? He could go up there with Strider in the second round
Yeah.
next year, and but that'd be different because we'd seen it. And I hate to say it, but
But you know what? You made a great point. Like when you're talking about this guy getting drafted in the early 40s, and by the way, ADP, we just tossed that out there. That's average draft position. But I love the point you made, Cody. Like with him going, let's say 42,
Mm-hmm.
you're basically taking the profit, so to speak, out of it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
if he was going, let's just say 80,
Mm-hmm.
if he was going 80, you could easily see through the stats in Japan, the stuff. Oh yeah, this guy could easily be a top 30 player, right?
Yeah.
But when you're drafting somebody at 40 and you think, oh, he could be a top 30 player, well, that's only 10 spots from where you're drafting him, best case scenario.
Right.
And so, that's what I mean by it feels like all the profit
Yeah.
is already built in, And so to your point, I don't love that. I would love to get a more sure thing,
Yeah.
so to speak, around that draft position because we're talking about in a 12-team league, we're talking about third or fourth round.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
your.
talk about some big time players still on the board, man.
Oh man. Oh yeah, dude. There's. Let me see if I can just pull it up real quick. There's around 40.
Boba
Well, yeah, but just even in the pitcher ranks, dude. Let's see. You could have Glass now, Lopez, who's proven,
Yeah.
Gallen, Castillo, all
Yep.
hovering around 35 to 40. Those are guys who've gone out and doing it. And I'm not saying this guy's not going to be electric, but
Yeah.
it just couldn't be me at the 42 spot. And listen, you better believe the second Dodgers game of the year, I'm going to be glued to that TV
Oh, yes.
for the first half inning because those games start too late and I'm going to fall asleep. But he is going to be must see TV. It's going to be very exciting. All that to say, I haven't even talked about Kirby. I'd take Kirby. He's just consistent. Just don't leave him out there until the 7th inning.
Right.
Okay. Or else I swear I'm going to have a come apart. I don't want to pitch. I just felt like I should have been out there, coach.
If he blames the manager again, though, for something like that, I am out.
I'm
out.
off my board. He's off my board.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That was hilarious. He is coming into his prime. And if
He
you could
is.
have that Caper 9 tick up, I think he'd be pretty exciting. Speaking of pretty exciting, let's look at some RPs and then let's get you, maybe like a hot toddy.
Yep.
Something soothing for the throat, good buddy. Okay. Let's see. This is pretty exciting stuff. This is probably your battle for RP 3 or 4 or 2 or 3. You got Josh Hader at ADP 59.6 or Emmanuel Class A ADP 62.2. Probably grabbing your first RP off the board at this point. You're in the 5th or 6th round. What do you got?
This is a good one. You can make a really good case for either one of these guys. These are both awesome options. I'm going to give a slight edge to Hader, mainly because of the strikeout numbers. Um, obviously, Houston's going to give him plenty of opportunities for saves.
Mm-hmm.
But I said this in our breakdown series. Class A is in the perfect scenario in Cleveland because,
Yeah.
um, number one, he doesn't have any competition for the ninth inning.
Yeah.
But number two, Cleveland can't score. And so basically every game that they play, they're going to be close.
Yeah.
And so, I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever if Class A led the league in saves.
He's done it back-to-back years.
Yeah. So that's kind of Cleveland's recipe for winning. Obviously, they've got a new manager. It's Stephen Vogt. We'll see if he does, anything different, or maybe that lineup gets cranked up now that he's there. But anyways, Class A is in as perfect of an environment for a closer as you can be to get just so many opportunities. So I love that. But very slight edge to Hater just because of a little bit better strikeout numbers.
Yeah, I'd probably go Hater too. I don't know.
I love both of these guys though.
I love watching them both. I love watching them both pitch. You took the words right out of my mouth, dude. Yeah, they're both great. They're both great. If Class A could get the numbers up, as far as strikeouts, maybe it's a different discussion. But
yep.
I don't, dude. But then saves are harder to come by than strikeouts.
Yes.
I really go back and forth. I'd probably go Hater, though. I'd probably go Hater. It's close, like you said. But, I mean, he had a great year. 1.28, a 1.1 whip, 13.6 Ks per nine. It doesn't get better than that. He's paid. He's going to be in a pretty solid situation, obviously, in Houston. So I'd go Hater. But it's close. I'd probably take whoever fell to me.
Yep.
Okay, last one, guys. Man, I've had so much fun. I could do this. We could do like 10 installments of this, okay?
Right.
Raisel Iglesias or Jordan Romano. You got an ADP of 87.6 for Iglesias versus a ADP of 87.8. You're in the 7th or 8th round. Clearly a different tier. What do you got?
Oh, God. Both of these guys are already giving me heartburn, man. But I honestly, these two guys are very similar in my book. Obviously, their ADPs are super close.
Yeah.
But man, neither one of these guys are super exciting to me because they are roller coasters.
Yep.
There will be some outings to where they look absolutely untouchable. Mm-hmm. And then the next night they could roll them out there and they walk 2 or 3 and give up a home run and blow up your ERA for the week. So
yeah.
I'm going to give a super slight edge to Iglesias because he plays for the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
The problem though with the Braves is they blow a lot of teams out.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get that many save opportunities relative to the amount of wins they get. Mm-hmm. But man, I'm not gonna lie, I don't love either one of these guys. But reluctantly give me Iglesias, but I'll hear you if you pick Romano.
Yeah. Romano, I had him on a team last year. Very white knuckly experience with that guy. Yeah, numbers landed okay. You have a whip of 1.22, ERA 2.90. Underlying for these two guys also landed in a very similar spot. They both have a Ks per 9 at 11. Yep. Dude, you said it perfectly. They go out. Sometimes you're like, this guy is Edwin Diaz. They are can't touch him. And then other times they can't find it. And it's a very uncomfortable viewing experience. I think the fact that there are other guys that can, that will fall. I'm probably not taking either one of these guys this year. But if you had to make me choose, I'll just take team context and a little bit better numbers with Raisel Iglesias. So that'd be my pick. But we'll see what happens, dude. It's going to be a very exciting year for both these guys. It's going to be a very exciting year for all of us. This has gotten me so excited. Papers in the back, dude. This has maybe been my favorite episode of the off. I really enjoy doing this. How are you feeling?
Dude, this was awesome. Minus my voice, I apologize, but I got through it. But man, I loved it. Maybe we're gonna put our heads together and maybe we can do like kind of a regular season version of kind of this.
Yeah.
Once the season gets going. But yeah, I think this is a lot of fun, and I hope our viewers enjoyed it as much as we did.
Dude, you're the man. I just want to say I really appreciate Will for sticking this out here, and I appreciate everybody for listening and watching. Check us out on Twitter at BTH_Cody and at Will Sism. We're gonna come back. We got some stuff down the pike. We're very excited about. We're gonna do some mock drafts, some strategy stuff. We are guys. We are barreling towards opening day. I'm very excited. We love you. We appreciate you. But until next time, thanks for listening to episode 68 of Bringing the Heat.